Hey guys, Blake here with another video, and I was just doing my usual weekly water change, and I figured there's so many new people around, I might as well run you through how I do it, how to maybe to make your life easier, and how to throw out those buckets forever. So let's jump straight into the video. So before we run through what's happening here behind me, this story is actually going to start inside. So I actually hook my water change system, we'll call it, up to an indoor tap, and I do so using one of these. This is an indoor tap adapter. Basically, most modern mixers, and even a lot of old ones, will have a ring which you just simply unscrew. Is that the right one? Yep. And then you just replace it with this one. You can easily hook on nicely and securely a garden hose adapter so that you can just hook up any old hose to your indoor taps. And I prefer to do that because right now it's 10 degrees Celsius outside, which is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, so you can only imagine how cold the water would be coming out of an outdoor tap. And I like to do fairly big water changes. I like to just do once per week 50%, and things like my discus and puffers, I just wouldn't want to put under that sort of stress. Basically, I don't think they would handle it too well, and I just like to stay on the safe side. Now, I have had concerns before about copper leaching into the water from the hot water service, but I've been water changing this way for 3 years with no ill effects, and I do live in quite an old house which has an old hot water service which supposedly is going to leach a lot more copper than modern services, so let that be a testament. Of course, do it at your own risk, but for me, I've never had any ill effects water changing with warm water. So to get it out to the fish room, the nearest indoor tap which I could fix one of these adapters to was actually 30 meters away, so I do have 30 meters of hose running, which you'll see. But first off, whilst I'm inside, I turn on the tap, let it run for a little while, get up to temperature, feel with my hand, or I do also have a little digital thermometer, make sure that it's around, the median temperature that my fish like to live in. Then we hook up the hose and we're ready for business. And once we get back out to the fish room, these are the two apparatuses here that I like to use. These tanks are pretty big, 75 gallons and 90 gallons respectively, and we can fill them up and drain them without using any buckets at all, which is really great on my back. So this one here is drained down to about, say, 40% or 50%, and the step with this is just simply turning the tap. Now, because this is the first time turning on this tap this evening, since we have had it disconnected, there will be a bit of air and stuff that's going to come out. It's going to sort of gurgle and make a lot of noise, but don't be alarmed with that. Soon all the air will be out of the system and it will just run super quietly and smooth. Just like that. So now it's just a matter of waiting for this tank to fill up, and whilst we do that, I like to drain another tank using this apparatus. I should say that I do have a video on making both of these pieces of equipment. It is a pretty old one now, so you'll have to bear with the quality and things like that. But I do run through all the measurements and sizes of piping that you're going to need, and it should stand the test of time for today. So to drain the tanks, I use this piece here, and everything is glued except for this. This actually sets how much is going to be drained out. So for most of these 18-inch tall or 45 centimeter tall tanks, this drains about half. And this little cap here is off as well, and that's how we get the siphon started. Two other things to note: obviously we've got a ball valve here, which I'll run through shortly. And then we've got some hose here. Now this hose is a bigger diameter than your normal garden hose, and that's for a reason. Because the water coming in is actually from a pressurized source, and we're just gravity feeding it out, it actually drains a lot slower than it fills. I just found that this sort of 20 millimeter, or what's that, like 3/4 of an inch vinyl hose here drains about the same as this one fills on my pressurized system in my area. If you have a lot more higher pressure water, then it's going to be different. Play around with it, but basically larger diameter is going to mean a faster drain. So to drain the water out, to get the siphon started, is pretty easy. What we do is we just have the ball valve here closed, which is fairly easy. Take the end cap off here, and we just suck the air out of this cap, and that will force water up here and then filling up this area up to the entrance of the ball valve here. So this area being full of water is what's going to start our siphon and start the tank drained. So this I find is a lot more safe, and you drink a lot less aquarium water this way than using a conventional siphon, just because you have a lot more leeway, and you can actually hear it in the you can actually hear the tube fill up. So I'll put the microphone on the tube so you can hear it for yourself. Another great thing here is you can actually look inside the pipe and see how full it is for yourself, so you can judge if you've done enough or not. Then once this is all full of water, we can basically sit it here as long as we like until we want to get the siphon started. And when we do, it's just a simple matter turning the ball valve and water is running outside. Simple as that. So we just got this one here filling up, this one here draining. We just go around tank to tank, and that's how we do all the water changes here. And another great thing about this is that if you are one of those people that hates to siphon, as long as you close the ball valve before the water line reaches the bottom of it, you can simply just lift it up out of the tank. Then it's just simply put it in the tank next door, turn the ball valve on, and it's easy as that. A couple of quick notes just on top of that. So my water contains chloramine, but if your water contains chlorine or chloramine, of course, I like to dose Seachem Safe here just before I start filling up the tank. That way I just let the water that's running in sort of mix around and dechlorinate the water that way. I don't worry about sort of pre-dechlorinating or anything like that. And the other great thing is that this system is fully adjustable, and you can pick whatever size you like for whatever size your tank is. For example, I do have these two other varieties that I like to use on nano tanks. So you can of course utilize this system and make it suitable for whatever tanks you decide to run. Another really cool thing with this is if you have a long enough drainage hose, you can actually get it straight onto the garden, which would be really great for all your fruits and vegetables and whatever you choose to grow outside. This nitrogen-rich fish tank water is great for all sorts of gardens. Another thing, because I do have a lot of fry and small fish in these tanks, I like to just zip tie a piece of fly screen across the bottom of this. Anything will do. A bit of sponge I've used before. Coarser the better though, because finer sponge will get clogged up quick. But you can use sort of anything, a stocking or whatever. But yeah, the thicker that it's going to be, the more likely it is to clog up. Another great option might be, if you've got an old net lying around, you could easily cut that up and just cable tie it or rubber band it around the edge of your outlet, and that way all your fish won't get sucked out onto the garden. So that's how I drain 100% of the tanks in this fish room. There's only two exceptions to the filling, and that is, first of all, my saltwater tank there behind me and my Michelin shrimp tank, which gets rainwater, which unfortunately I just have to do with buckets. Maybe one day when I'm in more of a permanent setup, I'll pump it in from a rainwater collection tank outside or something like that. But for now, that's how I do it. Hopefully you liked this video. Hopefully you found it to be inspiring and informative, and hopefully it helps you to save your back and give up the buckets for good. So that's how I do my water changes, guys. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, it always helps me to hit like, hit subscribe, ding the notification bell, and all that fun stuff. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day.